You wake up early, you commute to work. You give 8 hours to someone else's dream. You commute home, you watch television, you sleep, you repeat. 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year, 40 years of your life, you believe this is normal. That this is what responsible adults do. That working hard will eventually lead to financial security. Yet decades pass, and you are no wealthier than when you started. Your paycheck grows slightly, but so do your expenses. You are running on a treadmill that goes nowhere. Meanwhile, a small percentage of people seem to accumulate wealth effortlessly. They work less but earn more. They take vacations while you take overtime. They retire early while you cannot imagine retiring at all. You tell yourself they were lucky, that they had help, that the system favors them. And perhaps you are partly right, but the deeper truth is harder to accept. Most people stay poor not because of what happens to them, but because of what they believe. This video will show you the invisible programming that keeps people trapped in poverty, how your wealth mindset was shaped by forces that profit from your struggle, and what the Stoics understood about money that modern society desperately wants you to ignore. There was a man who did everything right according to the rules he was taught. He earned a college degree and accumulated debt doing it. He got a good job with a respected company. He worked diligently for 20 years. He received regular performance reviews praising his dedication. He got small raises that barely kept pace with inflation. He saved what he could in his retirement account. He bought a modest home with a 30-year mortgage. He drove a reliable used car. He lived within his means. He never took unnecessary risks. He followed every piece of conventional wisdom about personal finance. Yet at age 45, he calculated that he was further from retirement than he was at 25. His savings were inadequate. His debt was substantial. His security was an illusion. One medical emergency or job loss would destroy everything he had built over 2 decades. He sat at his kitchen table one night doing the math and realized something devastating. He had been lied to, not maliciously perhaps, but lied to nonetheless. The system he trusted to reward hard work and responsibility had extracted his labor while giving him just enough to survive but never enough to escape. He was a hamster on a wheel, running faster each year but never actually moving forward. The realization was brutal. He had wasted 20 years following advice that was designed to keep him poor, designed to keep him dependent, designed to keep him trading his life for dollars that bought less each year. He looked around at his colleagues and saw the same pattern. Everyone working hard, everyone stressed, everyone poor despite earning decent salaries. The problem was not individual, it was systemic, but the system operated through beliefs that people like him absorbed and never questioned. He began researching wealth and discovered that wealthy people think completely differently about money. They see different opportunities. They make different choices. They follow different rules, not because they are smarter or more talented, but because they were taught different beliefs about how money works. His education had prepared him to be a good employee. Their education prepared them to be owners. His training taught him to trade time for money. Their training taught them to build systems that generate money independently. He had been programmed for poverty while calling it education. They had been programmed for wealth while he was not even aware programming existed. The Stoics understood 2,000 years ago what he was discovering now. Epictetus taught that people are not imprisoned by their circumstances, but by their beliefs about their circumstances. Your poverty is not primarily caused by low wages or high expenses or bad luck. It is caused by beliefs about money that make wealth invisible to you. You cannot see opportunities that contradict your beliefs. You cannot pursue strategies that feel wrong according to your programming. You are trapped not by external forces but by internal assumptions you have never examined. The prison is invisible. The bars are made of belief, and you cannot escape what you cannot see. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the obstacle is the way, that examining why you are stuck reveals the path forward. Your poverty is information. It is telling you that your approach is not working, that your beliefs are not serving you, that your map does not match the territory. Most people ignore this information. They blame external factors, bad economy, greedy employers, unfair system. These things may be true, but blaming them keeps you powerless. It places your financial independence in someone else's hands. The Stoics insisted on focusing only on what you control. You cannot control the system. You can control your understanding of how the system works. You cannot control your circumstances. You can control your response to them. You cannot control being programmed. You can control examining and changing your programming. Consider the analogy of a fish in a tank. The fish swims back and forth. It explores every corner of its limited space, but it never questions the tank itself. The tank is invisible to the fish because the fish has never experienced anything else. The tank is reality. Then someone removes the fish from the tank and places it in a lake. Suddenly, the fish realizes the tank was not reality. It was a container, a limitation, a prison it could not see because it had no external perspective. This is how beliefs about money work. They are the tank you swim in. You explore every possibility within the tank, but you never question the tank itself. You never realize that the boundaries you experience are not natural laws. They are artificial limits created by programming you did not choose and have never examined. If you work hard but cannot get ahead financially, write question in the comments. Let that word remind you that your effort is not the problem. Your programming might be. Now we examine the specific beliefs that keep people poor and how these beliefs are installed and maintained by systems that profit from your poverty. These are not abstract philosophical ideas. These are concrete mental models that determine every financial decision you make. The first belief that keeps you poor is that employment is security. You were taught to get a good job, to work for a stable company, to climb the corporate ladder. This belief makes you dependent on someone else's decision about your worth. Your income is controlled by people who profit from paying you as little as possible. Your security is an illusion that can vanish with a single email. Yet you cling to employment because it feels safe. The wealthy understand that employment is the least secure form of income. One source, one decision maker, one point of failure. They build multiple income streams. They own assets. They control their own earning potential. You are trading real security for the feeling of safety, and the feeling disappears the moment you lose your job. The second belief is that income and wealth are the same thing. You focus on earning more money through raises and promotions. You measure success by salary, but income is not wealth. Income is what you trade your time for. Wealth is what produces income without your time. You can have high income and zero wealth. This is the trap most people fall into. They earn more and spend more. Their lifestyle expands to match their income. They work harder to maintain a lifestyle that requires them to work harder. The cycle never ends. The wealthy focus on acquiring assets, things that generate income passively, real estate, businesses, investments. They use their income to buy wealth. You use your income to buy expenses. This difference compounds over decades into the chasm between rich and poor. The third belief is that debt is a tool. You were taught that good debt exists, that mortgages are investments, that student loans are necessary, that car loans are normal. This programming serves lenders, not you, Every dollar you pay in interest is a dollar you cannot invest in assets. Debt makes you work for banks instead of yourself. The average person spends hundreds of thousands on interest over their lifetime. That money could have built substantial wealth, but you were taught to see debt as normal rather than as the emergency it is. The wealthy use debt strategically and sparingly to acquire assets that produce more than the interest costs. You use debt to acquire liabilities, to buy consumption, to fund a lifestyle you cannot afford. This keeps you poor while feeling successful. The fourth belief is that saving is sufficient. You believe that putting money in a savings account is responsible financial behavior. But inflation destroys the purchasing power of saved money. Your money loses value sitting in the bank while the bank uses your money to make investments that you should be making. Saving is the first step, but it is not the destination. The wealthy understand that money must work. It must be deployed into assets that appreciate or produce income. You save, they invest. You preserve, they multiply. You focus on not losing, they focus on winning. This difference determines who stays poor and who builds wealth. Your belief that saving alone is sufficient keeps you poor while feeling responsible. The fifth belief is that you need expertise to invest. You think investing is complicated, that you need special knowledge or credentials. This belief keeps you on the sidelines while your money loses value to inflation. The basics of investing are simple. Buy assets that produce income or appreciate in value. Hold them for long periods. Reinvest the returns. The complexity is manufactured by an industry that profits from your confusion. You pay fees to experts who rarely beat simple index funds. You avoid investing because it feels intimidating. Meanwhile, your window of opportunity closes year by year. The wealthy know that time in the market beats timing the market. That starting beats perfecting. That simple strategies executed consistently outperform complex strategies executed poorly. Your belief that you need permission or expertise keeps you poor while others accumulate. The sixth belief is that your time is your most valuable asset. You sell your time for money. You calculate your worth in hourly rates. This belief guarantees limitation because time is finite. There are only so many hours you can sell. You reach a ceiling quickly. The wealthy understand that systems are more valuable than time. That leverage is more valuable than effort. They build things that produce value without their direct involvement. They use other people's time, other people's money, other people's expertise. They create once and earn repeatedly. You work once and earn once. You are paid for your time. They are paid for their results. You scale linearly. They scale exponentially. Your belief that time is your most valuable asset keeps you trading that asset until you run out of it. The seventh belief is that consumption is reward. You work hard all week and reward yourself with purchases. New clothes, restaurant meals, entertainment, small luxuries that make the grind tolerable. This seems reasonable. You deserve to enjoy life. But this belief keeps you poor because every dollar spent on consumption is a dollar not invested in assets. The wealthy delay gratification. They invest first and consume from the profits. You consume first and invest what is left, which is usually nothing. They are building a machine that produces the ability to consume forever. You are consuming today at the cost of consuming forever. Your belief that you deserve rewards now keeps you poor later. The Stoics understood this completely. Seneca wrote about the poverty of excess, about people who have everything but enjoy nothing because they never built the foundation that makes enjoyment sustainable. The eighth belief is that wealth requires sacrifice. You think that building wealth means living miserably, denying yourself everything, working constantly, never enjoying life. This belief makes wealth building feel like punishment, so you avoid it. The truth is different. Building wealth requires choosing delayed gratification over instant gratification, choosing assets over expenses, choosing freedom over appearance. This is not sacrifice, it is strategy. The wealthy live well, but they live well from the profits of their assets, not from trading their time. They might drive older cars and live in modest homes early on, not because they must, but because they understand that every dollar deployed into assets buys future freedom. You see sacrifice. They see investment. You focus on what you give up today. They focus on what they gain tomorrow. Your belief that wealth requires painful sacrifice keeps you choosing comfort today over freedom tomorrow. The ninth belief is that the economy determines your outcome. You blame recessions, inflation, politicians, the system. These external forces feel like the cause of your struggle. This belief is comfortable because it removes your responsibility, but it also removes your power. If external forces determine your outcome, you are helpless. You are a victim. You are dependent on circumstances beyond your control. The Stoics rejected this thinking entirely. They focused exclusively on what is within their control: your effort, your learning, your choices, your persistence. People build wealth in terrible economies and lose wealth in great economies. The difference is not the external conditions. It is the internal response. Your belief that you are helpless against external forces keeps you poor while feeling justified. The 10th belief is that wealth is finite. You think that someone having more means you having less. That wealth is a pie with limited slices. This belief creates scarcity thinking. It makes you compete instead of create. It makes you envious instead of inspired. The reality is that wealth is created, not divided. When someone builds a successful business, they have not taken wealth from you. They have created value that did not exist before. The economy grows. New wealth emerges constantly. Your belief in scarcity keeps you fighting for crumbs instead of baking new pies. It keeps you focused on redistribution instead of creation. The wealthy know that creating value creates wealth. That serving people generates income. That solving problems produces opportunity. You are waiting for your share. They are creating shares. The man from our story began dismantling his programming systematically. He wrote down every belief he held about money. Then he examined each one honestly. Where did this belief come from? Who taught it to me? What results has it produced? Does it serve me or someone else? Most of his beliefs came from parents who struggled financially, from teachers who were employees, from a culture that profits from his consumption and his labor. None of his beliefs came from wealthy people. He had been taking money advice from poor people his entire life. No wonder he was poor. He started replacing his beliefs with beliefs that produce wealth. He stopped seeing employment as security and started building side income. He stopped confusing income with wealth and started acquiring assets. He stopped using debt for consumption and started eliminating all debt. He stopped merely saving and started investing systematically. He stopped waiting for expertise and started learning by doing. He stopped trading time for money and started building systems. He stopped consuming as reward and started investing first. He stopped seeing wealth building as sacrifice and started seeing it as freedom building. He stopped blaming external forces and started controlling his response. He stopped thinking in scarcity and started creating value. His income did not change immediately, but his trajectory changed completely. He was no longer stuck on the treadmill. He was building something that would eventually remove the need for the treadmill entirely. It would take years, but years were passing anyway. The question was not whether time would pass. The question was what he would build during that time. Would he trade another 20 years for another 20 years of being poor? Or would he use the next 20 years to build financial independence? Consider what your life would look like if you examined every belief you hold about money. If you questioned where those beliefs came from. If you tested them against reality. If you discarded beliefs that produce poverty and adopted beliefs that produce wealth. You would discover that you have been following a map designed by people who profit from you staying poor. Employers who need cheap labor. Lenders who need paying debtors. Retailers who need consuming customers. The entire system depends on you believing that you cannot build wealth, that you need them, that you should trade your life for their profit. This is not conspiracy. This is simply how the system functions, and it functions through belief. The Stoics teach that examining your beliefs is the highest form of self-improvement, that questioning what you have always assumed is wisdom. That seeing clearly is the first step toward living well. Most people never examine their programming about money. They inherit beliefs from people who struggled. They absorb messages from systems that profit from their struggle. They spend their entire lives following maps that lead nowhere. Then they wonder why they never arrive at financial security. They work hard but stay poor, and they do not even know why. True financial independence begins with intellectual independence, with refusing to accept beliefs just because everyone around you accepts them, with questioning the programming you received from childhood, with examining the results your beliefs have produced. If your beliefs about money have kept you poor, they are wrong. This is not judgment. This is evidence. The map does not match the territory, and insisting on following the wrong map will not suddenly make it right. Seneca wrote that we are not given a short life, but we make it short by wasting it. You are not poor because you lack opportunity. You are poor because you followed programming that produces poverty. The opportunity exists, but you cannot see it because your beliefs filter it out. You look at the world through a lens that makes wealth invisible, through assumptions that make financial independence feel impossible, through programming that serves others but not you. This programming can be changed, but only if you acknowledge it exists, only if you examine it honestly, only if you choose to replace it with beliefs that actually serve you. Most people stay poor because they never question why. They accept their poverty as inevitable, as natural, as the result of forces beyond their control. They work hard and stay poor and never examine the disconnect. The Stoics would tell you to sit with this disconnect, to examine why effort does not equal result, to question every assumption, to test every belief, to follow the evidence rather than the comfortable story. This examination is uncomfortable. It reveals that much of your struggle was optional, that you have been complicit in your own poverty by accepting beliefs that produce poverty. But this realization, as painful as it is also the moment when change becomes possible. Subscribe to Money and Stoicism to master your finances and your mind. Like this video if you seek true freedom.